Okay, I admit it. I have an ampersand fetish. I've tried therapy, but to no avail. I am hopelessly in love with this wonderful symbol. I'm constantly proclaiming its beauty and value. Why the ampersand? It's just a more interesting visual form of a plain word. Of all the types in a printer's hand, commend me to the ampersand, for he's the gentleman, seems to me, of the typographical company. Oh, my nice little ampersand, my graceful swan-like ampersand. Nothing that Cadmus ever planned equals my elegant ampersand. You can scan this lengthy list and look for your favorites. I particularly like Flotsam and Jetsam, Bump and Grind, Huntley and Brinkley, Tea and Crumpets, Nook and Cranny, Bert and Ernie, and of course, upper and lower case. From my klezmer band, Tennessee Schmaltz, to an anniversary card to my wife, I use ampersands whenever I can in my own designs. When the School of Journalism became the School of Journalism and Electronic Media, I insisted that the name use an ampersand. My colleagues begrudgingly agreed. When the Visual Communication Quarterly published my 13-page article on ampersands, it became the first time that a scholarly journal included an ampersand centerfold. I'm happy to report that the next issue did not contain any complaints about this curvaceous symbol. While others buy their yearly calendars, I make my own. This calendar contains a variety of ampersands, including a Germanic October, a musical July, an overweight September, a traditional November, and a boring December. As a self-taught graphic designer during the 1960s, I followed the work of Herb Lubalin, a legend among typographers. His use of ampersands was incredible, especially in this logo for Upper and Lowercase Magazine, a trade publication for selling fonts. This is an early symbol for the word et, Latin for and. The joining of two letters was a common form of shorthand at the time. It was drawn on a wall by a graffiti artist in Pompeii circa 79 AD. The wall was preserved as a result of the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Beginning at the top left of the right-hand page, you can see the Pompeii graffiti et and follow along with 15 centuries of hand-drawn ampersands. Many are not recognizable and others look quite similar to our modern version. Marcus Tullius Tiro was born a slave of Cicero's household and later was freed and became a secretary to Cicero himself. As a scribe, he created a system of shorthand characters that included one that resembles the number 7. It represented the word et and would evolve into the ampersand. John Tschichold was a German calligrapher, typographer, and book designer. His book, A Brief History of the Ampersand, was published in 1953. On the cover, we see the Tironian et symbol, which is still in use in Scotland and Ireland. On this page from Tschichold's book, we see ampersands from 1694 until the late 19th century. One thing that they all have in common is that they are all examples from letterpress printed works using metal or wood type. Ligatures are created when two or more letters must be spaced closer together. In this modern avant-garde logo, you can see the NT and the GA ligatures. In the years before Gutenberg, scribes would create ornate ligatures to demonstrate their hand-drawn calligraphy skills. The ET figure has its origin in the previously shown Pompeii graffiti. Here on the left is an example of a lowercase cursive E joined with an uppercase T. In the middle, an uppercase cursive E joins the cursive T, and on the right, the top of the letter E is closed off. In 2010, the Society of Typographic Aficionados announced the release of Coming Together, a font created to benefit the victims of the earthquake in Haiti. The font consists of 448 ampersands and can still be purchased at myfonts.com. It's true. Diggings from Many Amber Sandhogs is a 1936 collected work of small pamphlets on the subject of the ampersand. Produced in 1936 by the Typophiles, a group of typographers, designers, and printers, this book was limited to 125 numbered copies. British school children in the 19th century were taught to include the ampersand as the 27th letter of the alphabet. So in reciting the alphabet, students would end with Z and then and per se and, meaning and by itself and, which would later evolve into the word ampersand. Here are more of my favorites. Frankie and Johnny, Fred and Ethel, Romeo and Juliet, Wallace and Gromit, Lewis and Clark, Barbie and Ken, Adam and Eve, Bonnie and Clyde, and finally, Sears and Roebuck. As I was doing research for this talk, I came upon a website which cited 37 important resources for ampersand study. Upon scrolling down the lengthy list of books and articles, I was delighted to see my Art of the Ampersand Journal among them. And so, after 20 slides and 2,000 years, let's raise our beers and hear some cheers for the beautiful, elegant, and glorious ampersand. And that's all, folks.